Hello and welcome to Crucible of Worlds for more dedicated legacy action. Today we are playing a spicy one. We are playing MONOGREEN TURBODEPTHS. So this started off as a little idea in the recesses of my mind, and I wrote a big article on Patreon about building this deck from the ground up and sort of the initial idea and how that grew and the different stages I went through to come to this deck list. So if you're interested in that and the process, by all means check out my Patreon. But let's get into what this deck does. So, Dark Depths combo, where you copy it with Thespian stage, you end up with a copy of Dark Depths with no counters on, and you make a 20/20. We know this, we've played this a million times. But what we haven't played before is this other little combo. Liquimetal Coating. We tap this to make Dark Depths into an artifact. We then tap our Mycosynth Gardens, and it becomes a copy of that artifact. So then it has no counters on, and it makes a 20/20. So we have another way of doing that combo. Obviously, Liquimetal Coating requires a bit of stuff to make it work and do things, which is why we have two Shenanigans as our only red cards. The idea being we have 3 Mox Diamonds, which we can also find off the Urza Saga, as well as the Mycosynth Gardens to get the red mana. And between Liquimetal Coating and Shenanigans, we can blow up any permanent every turn until we're ready to win the game. We also have Tear Asunder, which is similar. We can kick this using our Mox Diamonds and our Mycosynth Gardens, but this is exile target artifact or enchantment, and then if you kick it, you can exile target non-land permanent instead. So what we're going to be doing with this is exiling stuff. The reason we haven't just got like Oxidize or something in here as a 1-mana answer is the One Ring is one of the few artifacts that you definitely have to get rid of when it comes into play. So we needed some exile removal, so that's what these are for. So yeah, pretty wild so far. Like I mentioned, we have a Saga plan. We've also got these Ancient Tombs to help power stuff out and fuel our Urza Saga. And we are a Karn deck, so Karn can find us another copy of Liquimetal Coating. It also is a combo with our Liquimetal Coating, so that if we play this, let's say on turn 1 off of an Ancient Tomb, turn 2, let's say we end up with another Ancient Tomb, we can play Karn and immediately start strip mining our opponent every turn with this combo, which is kind of nice. It's normally a thing that you get out of the sideboard to control games. We've chucked it in the main to give it a whirl. And kind of the glue that's holding this deck together, I think, is the Ancient Stirrings. This is 1 mana. Look at the top 5 cards of your library. Reveal a colourless card from among them and put it in your hand, and the rest of the bottom in any order. So, this Ancient Stirrings will find any of these cards. So that's a big chunk. It'll find our Karns, it'll find our Liquimetal Coatings, and it'll find our Urza Saga targets. So it should be finding a reasonable hit each time. And it finds all of our combo pieces, which is good. We have some Elvish Reclaimers here, and some crop rotations kind of help smooth things out and find the lands we want, but we can't really afford to play a bunch of really good utility lands because of all this other nonsense we're doing, which means that our land packages aren't as extensive, so these cards aren't going to be like super duper amazing, getting us all the right tools at the right time, but it will allow us to find our combo and just pull out Urza Sagas, which should be enough, right? We're not trying to have all these weird and wonderful little choices of things to dig up. If we just keep throwing Urza Sagas at our opponent or our Dark Depths combo, we should win the game a lot of the time. A few little Saga targets. Map, Haywire Mite, which can blow up anything alongside the Liquimetal Coating as long as it's not a creature. Pithing Needles, Shadowspear to go with our Sagas, and a Saga Lantern as a bit of Graveyard hate. Sideboard wise, it's mainly a Karn board, so to make sure that we have enough green sources, we've got this extra tree of tails that we can go find if we need it. We got another Liquimetal Coating, we got the usual things, Lattice, Ballista, Bridge, etc, etc. We have a Crucible, which is going to be quite nice since we're a land-focused deck. We have 3 Dismember because we don't really have much removal outside of our little Liquimetal Coating package. We have the Tormod's Crypt as well to exile some stuff. And we also have these Sphere of Resistance. So there is 4 copies of Sphere of Resistance, although it's not showing up on the interface right now. So what the plan is for these is for the sort of stormy matchups or things that we want to really stop our opponent being able to string together those spells, we want to jam a Sphere of Resistance down early and then copy it with Mycosynth Gardens and just rinse repeat as much as we can until our opponent just doesn't get to play the game. So that's kind of how we're trying to face the combo matchups, but some of our artifact hate will be good because they'll play out some of their artifacts sometimes, whether it's Vault of Whispers or Moxes and things, and we can pick those off. And we also have Karn, which is very good against those decks, which we can hopefully ramp into play. That's the deck. It's a bit of a wild one. Like, we are a TurboDepths deck trying to power stuff out, but we do have this really nice Karn plan as well. And I'm just curious to see how it's all going to fit together. This deck has been theory crafted rather than tested. So now is the testing, and I thought you lovely people would like to see it running for its first time. So here we are. If you would like to see one of your weird and wonderful decks on the channel, just drop me a message in the Discord or in the comments below and we can sort a donation deck out. I charge £15, which is pretty fair, I think. Or, you know, $20 or wherever it is you're from, we can work that out. But yeah, like and subscribe and let's play some Mono-Green Turbodepths. If you're looking to play Legacy on MTGO like me, why not try Card Hoarder? They're a rental service that I personally use and I found them better than other rental services that I've used in the past. So why not give them a try? What does our opening hand do for this game? Doesn't really get us anywhere that exciting. If Tear Asunder is good, that's fine, but we have 2 cards that might be blank, so I don't think we can keep this one. Okay. This is a turn 3 2020 with a Tear Asunder in the meantime. I will keep that and throw back this Shadowspear. Right, we're getting a Polluted Delta Cracked, Underground Sea. So less likely we're playing against Shadow. Could be playing against a combo deck. We could be playing against like a scam style deck. They could just be a Shadow deck that hasn't got any shadows in hand, so they're not going to lower their life total until they know it's a thing they want to be doing. Could be Grixis. There's all sorts of options this could be. It isn't the Epic Storm because they do not run Ponder. But that's about it for information we have there. Let's play a Liquimetal Coating. That's going to get our opponent slightly confused, because that's not a card you see in people's main decks. So next turn we can filter our mana through the Gardens to make a Tear Asunder and exile one of our opponent's permanents. If that's a thing we really want to do. Which, you know, might well be. Haywire Mite, that's interesting. This is an instant, so we can do this whenever we want. So we're just going to pass a Brainstorm, you say? Sure. So if this is Doomsday, being able to blow up their land might be quite a useful thing that we can accomplish. And we can run it back next turn as well with the Haywire Mite. They're not cracking their fetch. That's interesting. If they're a combo deck, we're going to want to get rid of this Underground Sea. Let's restrict their mana. Alright, we are targeting their Underground Sea with our Tear Asunder. Alright, we have exiled their land. Now that might prove unhelpful. Okay, they have a Wasteland. They're taking out our Underground Sea. That's fine. We have a 2020 that is uncounterable. So, pretty happy about this. Let's do the thing. We're going to do this now because we've already seen Wastelands. Keep this one. So we're doing this now to dodge Wasteland. But we've successfully put a 2020 into play. They knew one of the top cards of their library. So they clearly didn't want that to deal with the situation. Yeah! Love it. Love it. Sideboarding wise, we don't know anything. Not ideal. How do I feel about Sphere of Resistance though? That does feel like a kind of interesting thing we can accomplish here. Although if we're going to be getting wastelanded out the wazoo, that could be a little bit annoying. But we have 29 lands. Sure, 4 of them don't tap for mana, but we've got other permanents as well that are quite useful here. Pithing Needle on Wasteland is nice. I don't know if we're going to need Shadowspear. I don't really want these crop rotations against counterspell decks. So we'll replace these with some spheres and see how that feels. We could leave 1 sphere in the sideboard for Karn, but I don't think that's worth it. Reclaimer into a lot of stuff. Our hand plays here, for sure. I ponder. The question is, are we leading out on Ancient Stirrings or are we leading out on Elvish Reclaimer? I think that depends on if we draw a mana source. Drawing a mana source is going to be quite big here. So we'll see. Now we have a lot of mana sources in the deck, so I'm not odds off to draw. Okay. I think we need to cast Ancient Stirrings just to secure our next mana drop. In case, like, we know they're a Wasteland deck. So, would I rather have an Ancient Tomb, which gets us a lot closer to Karn, or we can take a Thespian Stage. I think we're going to take the Tomb here. We're going to shuffle before this is relevant, so any order's fine. So next time we can play Elvish Reclaimer and a couple of other things. So we could have just gone for the Needle as well. But alright, I'm not unhappy to see that one. Would I rather play 2 Reclaimers, or would I rather play Reclaimer and Pithing Needle? We've seen the Wasteland, so I'm expecting more scam-based stuff to happen. Right, so we have the Yavimaya, so we can play 2 Reclaimers here. We'll see what happens with this one. Right, so they're just in on that one, are they? Let's go for a Pithing Needle. How do you feel about Wasteland, opponent? Do you really want to have them? Or are you okay with me shutting them off? Also, nice new basic art. Pretty tasty. They're cycling this because they think we might name it. I'll name the Wasteland here. And then let's pop out a little expedition map and pass. So we can drop a Karn next turn and start having a jolly Merry Christmas. We can get to Dark Depths combo in a few turns. Because we have the expedition map, we have the Reclaimer, so we can find all the things we want. This is interesting. Play out the gardens here. Karn is going to get the counterspell here. We could wait a turn and play around... If we wait a turn, we get to play around the days. So I think I'm going to do that. And take this as an opportunity to crack our expedition map. Do I want to turn one of these into a different land? If we're cracking the expedition map, we don't need to do that. What could they flash in? I don't think they're playing Snapcasters. I think the only thing they're probably going to cast a Sauron's Ransom at the end of turn. That'd be my guess. A Bowmasters. Sure. Alright, this is the thing they're flashing in. That's pretty annoying. And I didn't need to play into that one, really. So they're going to trade the Orc Army off. Yeah, so we kind of traded for half their card there. That was a bit of an error. We didn't need to attack there. Alright. There is a basic swamp from our opponent. A Grief, you say. That is good. That's going to take our Karn, the Great Creator, here. Okay, that's the thing that matters in our hand, really. This. Let's go and get the Thespian stage, because that's the one we want to be untapped, because we can go and fetch the other one with the Reclaimer. Sphere of Resistance. I don't think we're in the market for that just yet. So we can pay 2 to turn this into Dark Depths, and then we have 1, 2... This copies it. So we are representing a 2020 right now. What is our opponent going to do about that is the question. Hopefully tap out and let us kill them. That would be ideal. Let's attack with a Grief. We can't block this. If we'd have kept back our other Reclaimer instead of being a clown, then we would have been able to. Reanimate on the Troll. Let's get ourselves a Dark Depths. I think we are somewhat priced into going for it here. Because what else are we doing? Apart from getting killed by the troll. There's a time and a place to play around things, and this is sadly not it. Okay, let's go to our turn, which is interesting. We'll go to attacks. Do they have it? They do have it. Shoulder's Edict, Petty Theft. So now we have to decide how we can play this game. We can go and get an Urza Saga. That's going to be too slow to matter here. Unless we hit... so we take 6... And then a bunch from this. There's 6, 7, 8, 9. So if we play a land, turn it into Thespian stage, and then we untap. If we draw a land, we get to make another 2020. But it won't be able to block this troll, will it? No, I think we're dead here. Let's go to game 3. I think I'll punt earlier cost us the game, but boy howdy has it annoyed me. How do I feel about this Sphere of Resistance plan? It's very strong at stopping their scariest things. Like, they can't answer our stuff if they're paying a bunch of mana. Turn 1 Sphere is very good here. I'm going to resubmit. This is not a turn 1 Sphere of Resistance, but I do like what it has to offer. Our opponent's mulliganed. That's a good start for us. We are on a bit of a brew, so all the help we can get is appreciated. I'm very happy that the very first game we just did the thing. So, already winning to an extent. How do you feel about Elvish Reclaimer? Force of Will pitching days. Alright, 1 mana Hymns to Turak, I'll take it. Alright, a Ponder. So we're going to cast Sphere of Resistance off of the Mycosynth Gardens. Then the turn after, we're going to cast another Sphere of Resistance off of the Urza Saga, and then just start cranking out tokens while our opponent can't play any spells. That feels like a good way to be. Can it go wrong? Oh, certainly. But we'll see. Maybe we can try and do the whole Karn as a Saga style. So Wasteland can be annoying against us, but it will also set our opponent back. And there comes a point where our other Mycosynth Gardens becomes another sphere. And that's going to be pretty good. 2 mana Ponder. Yuck. Glad I'm not you. This means that they're tapped out, so this Sphere of Resistance will resolve. And then they're going to have to pay 3 mana for their Ponders. Which is not the amount of mana they wanted to pay for Ponders. They shuffled their library. Many Urza sagas. Alright. Now we just keep making little friends. Maybe we should have kept Shadowspear in as well. Alright, so we have a question here. Are we playing this other Urza saga out? Because if we do, we're not going to get full value off of it unless we draw an Ancient Tomb. But if they wasteland this saga, that's kind of annoying. Because we want to just keep cranking out the boys. That's a tricky decision, I think. I think because we're under double sphere, we're just going to keep cranking out the boys. Swamp cycling. Yep, that's a thing. Really wish we had the Shadowspear. Should have boarded that back in for this game. Whoops. Does it cast a 3 mana reanimate? Is that what you're looking at doing here? Or a 4 mana reanimate dead if you're on that new build that a few people have been playing? 3 mana reanimate, sure. Let's make a boy. Beautiful boy. And another boy. And then we get ourselves... What do we want here? Do we just want to name Wasteland? Because that's really annoying for us. We could just get a Mox Diamond and give ourselves a bit more mana to work with. That could be interesting. I think it's the Wasteland though, because we can ride these Urza sagas. Yes, I would like to attack. If you want to trade your troll for my 5/5, I would be happy about that. I don't believe our opponent is running Death Shadow. Alright, so they're just trading this off. So they're taking 6 damage already from the reanimate. And that was for like a third of our card. Urza Saga. What a Magic the Gathering card. So there's no point naming fetch lands at this point because they have all these manas anyway. And this can tap for green mana underneath our Yavimaya. In case you're wondering why we didn't name this. We can just ride these Urza Saga constructs to victory. A Murktide Regent. That's not a tiny creature. So the other option here was getting the Soulguide Lantern to stop something like that happening. But our Saga token should be racing this quite soon. I don't think we need to worry about keeping this Boseiju in hand. So this is the turn we can play this one out. Tear Asunder. So this will only become a 5/5. So we're not attacking yet. But next turn it will be bigger. So then we can attack into the Murktide and put it on chump block duty. Sphere Resistance and Murktide work in a weird way because they can pay the extra mana via the Delve. Oh wow, they're getting fighty over there. Wowzers, that's kind of scary to be honest. What does that mean for us? They're going to Hercules recall us. Or dress down us. That would make me sad. Let's make a friend. Let's dress down. Shoulder's Edict. Okay, we only have one option for that. Really wish we had that Shadowspear. This gets us an artifact here. I think now we probably do want the Soulguide Lantern. Kind of wish we got it earlier, but I think we had to play into our Urza Saga line. That does make the Murktide slightly bigger. But it was already a 2-turn clock, so I don't really mind that. This just means that we're not going to get additional permanents in play, ruining our day. So this attacks for 6, and next turn they both attack for lethal. We could turn this into a Soulguide Lantern and get +1 damage right now. So I think putting our opponent to 6 is better than putting them to 7 here. I'll take away our Mycosynth Gardens. So we can't do any sewer resistant shenanigans. Is that worth doing? I think so. Right, so that puts 7 damage into our opponent here. So our opponent is... So if we have to fire off a Soulguide Lantern, our creatures are still going to be lethal, so I think it's right to make that play there. What have you got with 2 cards in hand here? They can cast 2 1-drops. So, like, double Fatal Push would win here. Or Snuff Out Shoulder's Edict. That works. Alright, so they might have 1 removal spell here. We shall see, I suppose. Let's go to attacks. Both of these are lethal. We can also grow them to make it so they trade with Murktide. Right, we're going to see a Borrower here. A Petty Theft. So now this will not trade with the Murktide. But we forced them to have it here. Way that we can navigate this in any other fashion, there is not. Now, it's a little bit awkward. But we're just going to keep cranking out the boys. The Murktide can't attack. Unless they have another follow-up blocker. Brazen Borrower cannot block non-flying creatures. Let's make another beautiful boy. And another. Oh. And what is it going to find us this time? Is it the Haywire Mite? Or is it the Expedition map, which then finds us more Urza Saga if we need them? Probably that one. We could just try and trade our construct into the Murktide. I don't hate that as a strategy here. 1, 2, 3. Yep. Just close off the board, unless they have something random to mess us up here. Which would be very annoying. Another petty theft. That's pretty annoying, I won't lie. That one extra point of damage of stuff we gave this from the Saga Lantern has really come back to bite us here. So they've had the Shoulder's Edict and 2 Brazen Borrowers. They normally run 3 of those effects total. So now they get to bash with the Murktide, which is terrible news for us. I think we've lost this game now. I'm going to play out one of the Borrowers, maybe? Or have they got something else that's equally annoying for us? We should have exiled the card from our own graveyard, I think. So we have 2 options here. We can draw some cards from our Saga Lanterns, or we can Expedition Map. What are we going to Expedition Map for? Not sure anything we have here saves us in that regards. So I think we are going to go draw a card with this. And then draw a card with this one. Tap this for green. A Dark Depths. Interesting. And Ancient Stirrings. Our own Sphere of Resistance not helping us out here. And they're going to play another Borrower right now. So, what do we need? If we cast Stirrings, it costs 3 mana. And then puts us dead to the Borrower. If we do that. Or we go 1, 2, 3, but then we can't cast any follow-ups. We do get to play this land out, actually. So that's 1, 2, 3 mana. And then our follow-up would have to be 0 mana to work. Elvish Reclaimer does not stop us from losing the game. We don't have any fun lands with the Expedition map that help us out here. A real doozy, this one. Is there a way that we can copy this? I don't believe so. Let's have a look. So we have the coating, but we can't do the thing with it. Yeah, that Saga Lantern play cost us that entire match. So that's on us. It was our game to win, really. And we just decided to get it. Yeah, we could have targeted one of our own cards. I didn't think it was going to make a difference, but it really did twice. So that's really unfortunate, but we did get to do the thing in the first game. And I think the deck should have won this round. It was me that didn't. Again, we're playing a brand new brew, but I really should have known better. Let's go to round 2. All right, we've made it to round 2. We have a turn 3 2020. Yeah, we can lead out on basics. We've got an Urza Saga backup plan. We're going to lose to combo decks with this hand, but we kind of knew that going in, really. We just start off on this crop rotation mana, just in case we need something. We don't have any Pajuka Bogs, though, so maybe that's a mistake. We'll see. Plateau. So we're looking at some kind of stompy initiative deck, which could be a problem. They're going to come out of the gates pretty sharpish. And they are of the red-white variety, so the chance of them having an answer for... Alright, it looks like they're just going to have a turn 1 Chaos of Chaos Adventure start, which is not unbeatable, but hard to beat. Seasoned Dungeoneer. God, if we were playing a blue deck and just had 1 counterspell, that would have been lights out. They pitched 3 cards to make that happen. But it won't matter, because initiative is a very powerful mechanic. Okay... Tear Asunder. That's going to confuse our opponents, but I think we still cast it here. Tap on the new Yavimaya. Wait, do we have a turn 3 here? We need to have Thespian Stage, Dark Depths, and Yavimaya in play. So if we turn this into Yavimaya next turn, then this turns itself into Dark Depths. Yes, we do have a next turn, so we can just tear this asunder and hopefully buy ourselves another turn. And then next turn, give them a surprise 2020. I don't know how much of a surprise it's going to be. We're probably not going to play out this Urza Saga because I don't think that's going to matter. Also, in round 1, which I'm still salty about, if I'd have just reboarded in my Shadowspear, I would have been a lot better. But such is life. Right, they went down the Lost Well, which buys us time, which is one of the main things we want here. Fable of the Mirror Breaker. Okay. So now we have a choice. I think we are supposed to play the Saga. No, it's not the Saga, because that's going to be our follow-up thing if this goes wrong, right? Although it shouldn't really matter if it goes wrong. So we're just not going to show them the Saga. And hope they don't have the thing here. So we're trying to dodge Solitude and or Source Plowshares. Possibly the little Flicker enchantment. Although many people aren't really on that anymore. City of Traitors. Going to go into the Catacombs here. 5 mana. What is this going to be? It's going to be 4th Eolingus. Does this kill us? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Like, we're dead if our thing doesn't work. Are we supposed to block now? Maybe. Like, it's free to block one of these guys, right? They've played their land for the turn. So, I guess this is our go time. So, we go and get the Yavimaya. And this taps for green. And crop rotates into a Dark Depths. And this targets this. We make ourselves a 2020 and we're left with just one land in play. But a 2020 in play as well, which is... Are we going to get Solituded here? That's the one thing we have to dodge. They do get one more draw from the Monarch, so... Let's see if we die. We got there, okay. Whew. So, what do we want to do now? This feels like a matchup where we're going to want to be able to remove their creatures, otherwise we just can get bodied pretty grossly. I don't think we want to be doing Sphere Resistance stuff. They are trying to resolve 4 drops though. But they have a lot of soul lands, which kind of mitigates that as a useful thing to do. Saga Lantern is not going to be doing much here. Pithing Needle not going to be doing much here. Not really a fan of the Haywire Mite here. They might have Blood Moon, I suppose. So maybe we keep a Haywire in over the Expedition map, because that's going to be slow. Although, we kind of have Blood Moon beat with all these things, right? So maybe we don't need the Haywire Mite, but this is a creature. So it can take the initiative back if necessary. Alright, I'm happy with this. Let's submit. Alright, we can start churning out Urza Saga tokens as early as turn 2. Which on the play is pretty decent. And we'll have a Dismember for their first threat. We could play the Haywire Mite on turn 1 as well. And then Dismember on our turn and attack with the Haywire Mite to take the initiative. If that's the thing they do. Sorry, we're on the draw here, aren't we? So maybe that's wrong. Sorry, I just assumed we lost even though we won there. Weird. Oh, brain. Okay, so we've got City of Traitors, Crow Mox. What creature? If we see something like an Archon of Emeria, is it called? That's going to be bad news for us. There it is. Alright. Yavimaya, Cradle of Growth. So this will be our 1 spell for the turn. And we'll pitch the... We have this combo. Maybe we're supposed to pitch the Cradle here. Then we play out the Urza Saga tapped. And then on our next turn, on their turn, sorry, we get to cast a spell, and that can be Dismember. And then we can unlock our non-basic and just start churning out the tokens. Assemble the boys. Take 2, that's fine. Let's see what our opponent does with their second main, in case we get a better target for our Dismember. Right, down goes their City of Traitors. A 4 drop, you say. So, what is more important here? I think killing the Archon is more important to us than killing the Seasoned Engineer right now. As wild as that is. I just think if our lands are coming intact, we're not able to play the game here. We do have to pay some life for this Dismember, which is unfortunate. In a matchup very much about life totals, not happy about this. This allows us to start making some tokens. The other option here we have is just to try and assemble the 2020 combo. So we can Ancient Stirrings, and if that finds us a Dark Depths, we can make our 2020 next turn. But I'm not sure that's good enough. If we get ourselves an Urza Saga token, we can then stick. Actually, maybe that is what we have to do. Looking at how much damage we're going to take here, because if they put the counters on this, this is going to be 5, potentially 6. So yeah, I think we are in Ancient Stirring Town here. We found the Dark Depths. Any order's fine. Let's play Liquimetal Coating. So next turn we can make our Dark Depths into a... Well, we can make our Mycosynth Gardens into a Dark Depths and then into a 2020. I think that's better than just trying to make like a 2-2 into a 3-3, stick equipment on it. Could be awkward. Yep, so they've gone down the aggressive line here. So we take 5, then we take 5, then we kill them. That's the plan. We can't afford to make a token here, so we're not going to. Magus of the Moon. Not a fan of that one. Very much not a fan of that one. So we could have had just a rubbish little creature here, but that probably wouldn't get it done for us. So play this out. This taps for Haywire Mite. This can only blow up non-creatures. But maybe our opponent won't read it and they'll concede. This can gain us 2 life though. Potentially 4 life by blocking the Magus and gaining us 2 life. If we find a Tear Asunder, we do not win the game at this point, right? Shenanigans would have been good. So we need them to miss on this Seasoned Dungeoneer trigger. Let's see. Oh, they did not miss. Alright, so we are dead there. So you get a 1 life. Okay, do I want to do anything differently? No, I think I'm pretty happy with what we've got here. And let's submit. We're just a turn too slow. On the play, we win that game. Which is often how it feels against initiative sometimes. Do we want to play the Urza Saga game? We can just dismember the little Magus though. Yeah, I think I'm down for turn 1 Saga, turn 2 make tokens. If I make a turn 1 Magus, I'm not going to be the most pleased in the world, but them's be the breaks sometimes. A Lotus Petal. An Ancient Tomb. Fable of the Mirror Breaker. That is not a Magus of the Moon. I will take that. Do we want to tear this asunder? I don't think so. We can do that later when the time is right. I don't think we want to dismember this either. I think there's scarier things for us to worry about. I'm going to take a bit of damage from our Ancient Tomb. I guess when are we playing this Dismember? Is a question. Because our mana is spoken for 2 turns, right? So I think we're actually supposed to dismember this. This also might be an important part of their coloured mana sources. Liquimetal Coating. Alright, that gives us a clean answer to anything. At some point. So they play Magus, we at least get a guy on the board. I think if they had Magus, they'd have played it turn 1. What are you going to pitch away, opponent? Chalice of the Void and Seasoned Dungeoneer. Right, Seasoned Dungeoneer is an interesting thing to throw away. That does make you think that they've got a bunch of threats, but they're just looking for mana. So they were really relying on this Fable of the Mirror Breaker token. A Mox. Okay, that's a 2-for-1 when we tear it asunder. What are you going to imprint? A Seasoned Dungeoneer. So this does not cast Magus of the Moon. It does cast this little guy, though. Let's make a friend. Make another little friend. We can get a Mox Diamond here. We have a choice what we're pitching if we get the Mox Diamond. I think we pitch the Mycosynth Gardens here. And then we can play out this... we play out the Saga, it comes in tapped. I think we attack first. It's unlikely this trades, but it's not impossible. Then we have to choose if you want to hit their Chrome Mox or their Fable token. Considering they didn't play a land, they're going for a Solitude here. That is annoying. I won't lie. We don't have a Tree of Tales to go and find. Yep, so we're going to lose both of our constructs here. Which means I think we need to get our Urza Saga up and running here. That was a very unfortunate situation there, but that's Solitude. Alright. We do have a Tear Asunder which can hit the Fable before it flips. Before it loses Summoning Sickness. We've drawn a basic, which is nice. So we have a choice here. We're either tearing asunder this, or playing Liquimetal Coating. We're definitely going to make a construct here. That's an essential part of our plan. The coating makes our things stronger. Our opponent bricked on land last turn. Are we supposed to just hit the Chrome Mox? Or are we supposed to play to our strongest plan? I think we're supposed to play to our strongest plan here. So now we can make a construct that will be 1, 2, 3, 4. So that'll be useful. And then we can stick a Shadowspear on it. And hopefully that will be good. We have to make a decision about our mana next turn as well. We need to kind of dodge what our opponent's doing for one turn, I think. Alright, that looks like the start of dodging. So they're not going to attack with a reflection here. So they're going to eat up our life total with this Ancient Tomb. So now we untap. We're going to draw here. I think we are just making another token here. We get to cast one spell. Is it important that we cast Elvish Reclaimer? We could just turn this into another Saga. Right, so we get the Shadowspear. Put a land. Equip this guy. We get to attack. As soon as they make a copy here, we're still doing alright. Yep, so they're making a copy here. This is going to soak up some of the damage. But trample is good. I'd like to pump our forest into an artifact. So we're going to trample over for 4 here. Then we get to play a spell. This will be a 3/4. I think that's fine. I think that's better than crop rotating into the what's it called? Urza Saga. We can always find Urza Sagas with this, but also the crop rotation is good because it allows us to break the parity of one spell a turn because we get to play in their turn a little bit. A Chrome Mox, you say? Right, feels like they've accessed red mana now, so we could be looking at Caves of Chaos Adventurer and Friends. Alright, I think we just attack with our large boys. If they copy this, remove this, double block here, we at least clear the Archon and then we can kill their other guy. This is fine. They need a removal spell for this to do more. And we have the option of doing some things with coating here. We can just exile a permanent when we see fit here as well. Right, they're double blocking this one to soak up damage. Okay. Interesting. So now we have a choice here. We can tear something asunder. I guess we can play out the Reclaimer first. And then we can Tear Asunder. I think it's the red source they need here. We didn't use the coating to push through one more damage because we might have needed the flexibility to do something else with it. And we're in an okay spot. We can Reclaimer into an Urza Saga now as well. And we've gained out all that life we pitched to our Ancient Tomb. So we are very much pod racing right now. Alright, we got a match. And we should have had the first match, but we punted. So the deck's 2-0, we're 1-1. So let's go to round 3. Welcome to round 3. We do not have green mana. Is a turn 3 Karn good enough? I don't think so. Our opponent's revealed a Yorion, so we're going to need to do something exciting in this game. No green mana again, which is a bit of a worry. Alright, we have green mana. Okay, we'll keep this. We don't need Tear Asunder. I don't think we need the second Reclaimer. We have a choice here. These Yorion decks our opponent's playing sometimes run Wasteland. But I don't think they will Wasteland if we put Reclaimer into play. I think they'll kill our Reclaimer rather than Wastelanding. Alright, so we're looking to be... They might not be that heavy into black. It might be a splash colour. Oh, wowzers. We get in, like... Yorion scammed. I did see someone post this list to Twitter yesterday, maybe? So that could be what's happening. A Ponder. I shuffled off that Ponder. Do we think our opponent's playing Days? I think it's free to play around. That's Ancient Stirrings. These are cards. I'll take an Urza Saga. And we're not doing anything with this turn, so we'll just go on an attack. So we can play out the Saga next turn. And maybe turn our Boseiju into a Yavimaya or a Thespian stage, both of which have some merits. That Watery Grave probably just means our opponent is running more, running full 4 of these, and they needed more blue-black lands. So they might just be the full-on blue-black scam list. Right, let's play our other Reclaimer. And pass a turn. So our Boseiju can become... Probably is a Thespian stage here. That way we can threaten a 2020 or we can threaten Saga Beatdown. Actually no, there needs to be Yavimaya to turn on our Depths Read, doesn't it? Just putting Yorion to hand, eh? Let's sacrifice this Boseiju and get ourselves a Thespian stage for later. Because this is the one we want to be untapped when we're trying to go off anyway. Another Urza Saga, that's interesting. Yeah, we can still... We can threaten the combo, or we can threaten Saga tokens. And we can kind of work out what we think is going to be best for us in that situation. It's interesting our opponent's Lorien Revealed got them the Watery Grave earlier rather than another Underground Sea. Maybe we should read into that. They're on some sort of shadows in their list. Mystic Sanctuary. This can get them the Lorien Revealed or the Ponder. Going for the Lorien Revealed. Sure. What would you like? Animate Dead on Grief. Be my guest. I think we're going to make some Saga tokens. Do you want a Shadowspear? Oh, they're just scooping it up. Alright, fair enough. As a Saga, winning games, that's what it does. Do I want to try the Sphere Resistance line here if we think they're on a slightly scammy style deck? Interesting, because this can protect us from counterspells. We can lay this out and kind of go to town. I think we're going to want the Pithing Needle for Wasteland. I'm expecting that out of our opponent's deck now. Saga Lantern's definitely got merit. The Haywire Mite does not have a lot of merit here. That gives us one slot to play with, for sure. I don't think we can board any of our green lands out. We could board down on things like Dark Depths, but I don't really want to do that. Our opponent isn't showing us a lot of things that interact with our Shenanigans and Tear Asunder, so maybe we'll trim one of those. That could get us a couple of spheres if we want them. And then maybe trim the expedition map for a third sphere, and we can go and grab one later on if we think that's going to be useful. Wait a minute, the Haywire Mite is supposed to be gone, not the Pithing Needle. Misclick there. Is Tear Asunder better than the Shenanigans? Maybe. Easier to cast. Do we want any Dismembers in this matchup? Like, it can nail the Grief, but is Grief that much of a worry for us? I guess Dismember does kill the Troll as well. Maybe that's just better than the Sphere. Like, the Sphere's mainly for like combo decks, but we're on a new untested build, so we're messing around a little bit and seeing how we fare. What does this hand do? This makes a turn 2 Karn. It's a little bit all in on that Karn, but we only need to find one thing and we get to make the Dark Depths. Shadowspear. Alright, so they got Urza Saga in their deck. Understood. We'll name Wasteland here. And then pass. So we can jam a Karn next turn if we want to. That might play into a Daze. Urza Saga, sure. Do we want to play into Daze? Or do we want to take a turn off? If this gets countered by a Daze, what are we doing? Is the next question. Losing the game is the answer to that question. So maybe we are supposed to take it 10 slower. So just play out the basic forest here. And pass. There's also the problem of the Pithing Needle coming in off of this as a Saga. Which is not where I want to be. Liquimetal Coating. That is an interesting one, isn't it? Alright. I don't even think they have to counterspell this necessarily. So definitely going to have a Pithing Needle in their 80 card deck. So this is us finding a card that's useful here. Now, if you ask me what that card is, that is a more difficult question. That is a toughie, isn't it? We could just jam a Haywire Mite right now, but what is that doing apart from blowing up the Shadowspear? Maybe that is a thing we have to do. Can we realistically beat the Shadowspear? Do we get Ensnaring Bridge and hide behind it? That's very bad for our 2020 plan, isn't it? And if they get a Pithing Needle, that kind of jams us up. I think it is the Haywire Mite here. Then we'll play it out. I could Daze this. We have played around Daze, so this does play into it. But Daze for a Haywire Mite, that's probably an okay-ish trade. If we find... Yeah, if we find ourselves a Mycosynth Gardens, we can assemble a 2020 here. Yep, so I'm going to make a construct. Make a construct. Will they have enough mana to equip the Shadowspear this turn? So that's one of the things I'm kind of annoyed by, if they do. Alright. They're tapping the Saga for mana. Sudden Edict. Each opponent sacrifices a non-token creature. Okay. We gain 2 life. And then this is going to give them the ability to equip a Shadowspear if they want it. A Spell Bomb. Interesting. That's pretty good against some of the things we got going on. Now I can crunch in and kill this Karn. That's sad. Maybe we're supposed to hold open the Dismember then instead of playing that out. Maybe that would be a smarter play. Could have kept our Karn alive. Wish that was what we did now. Alright. Oh, the second main phase equip. The equip of shame. Ancient Stirrings. This card can do a decent amount of work for us. Or it can do nothing. We get a Mox Diamond though. Play a Mox Diamond. What is Cradle of Growth? Are we playing out this Dark Depths now? We can play the Yavimaya and save ourselves a little bit of life. A lot of life, in fact. So I think we're probably doing that. Because this allows us to cast this. And then we can cast Dismember for only 2 mana here. For only 2 life, sorry. Is this worth our opponent counterspelling? If they have a counterspell? I don't think it is, and they agree. A Watery Grave tapped. They're paying costs or something. Putting your into hand, okay. The Mycosynth Gardens, you say? An interesting one there. They have the Ether Spell Bomb, so this isn't going to work unless they make some sort of mistake. But we do have ways of removing artifacts. That's something our deck does. And we can play a Karn. They're not playing out the Euro. Interesting. Well, let's just remove some counters from this. We won't use the other mana, so they think we have something for the other mana. Karn the Great Creator. That is a Magic the Gathering card I'm quite fond of right now. I think we can afford to... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Doesn't feel like this is resolving. But maybe. They've got Force of Will mana open, so that's what I'm expecting. Oh, I didn't. Interesting. Very interesting. Let's target their Underground Sea. Next turn we can try and Lattice Lock them. They're going to cast a spell and then daze it themselves. They're going to make us sacrifice a Planeswalker. We only have 1 Planeswalker, so that's a shame. We now can't do our little Dark Depths combo in their end step. But hopefully our opponents missed that and maybe we get it next turn. Entomb, yep, this is the list I saw posted to Twitter the other day. It has 1 Archon of Cruelty in the deck. Here we go. Which could be a little bit challenging for us, but we'll see. Animate Dead. We don't have any cards in hand, so there's that. We don't have any creatures, so that's nice too. I don't think we're removing all the counters of this anytime soon. There's a Wasteland. Doesn't work because of our Pithing Needle. They're also on enough life that a single hit from Marit Lage does not kill them. But we can throw this in and try and block, but... Petty Thefting the Wasteland. Okay. The Pithing Needle on Wasteland. Targeting our Yavimaya Cradle of Growth. Not really the one I would have targeted, personally. And Urza's Saga. And we'll play Pithing Needle. Since they've helped us out. We can go... Oh, we don't have the Yavimaya now, do we? That's fine. We will name Ether Spellbomb, please. And then we will pass. So now we get to make a 2020, hopefully. We have to make it after they've attacked and this trigger's happened. But before it hits us. Resolve the trigger. This targets our Dark Depths. This targets our Dark Depths. Let's make it 2020. Let's go to blocks. Now they can have another reanimation spell. And that would be bad news bears for us. And considering they haven't been casting any spells, that's a very likely thing they have. We know they have a Yorion and 2 other cards. Let's see. Mystic Sanctuary. Putting back a Shoulder's Edict. Not a massive fan of that. We got a Ponder or something here. We're just going to play the big Yorio. Alright, we're going to need to find Shenanigans. That's kind of help, isn't it? That's a very different approach to how we do this game. Sure. We will see if we'll trade this Marit Lage for a Yorion. Now we're on the permanent denial strategy. They're just taking it, are they? How's like them apples? So we are going to lose... We're not going to lose our creature, actually. We make this now. So now we have two token creatures. So Shoulder's Edict will kill our construct, but not our Marit Lage. And we can smash their permanents every turn if we want to. Right, there's a Watery Grave. We know they've got Shoulder's Edict in hand. We got another one. They're equipping the Shadowspear there, aren't they? This seems a-okay to me. We will draw our Shenanigans. We will float a mana. We'll get our own Shadowspear. Love to see it. So we did the permanent denial, the recurring removal thing. So that's pretty nice. So we're 2-1. Let's go to round 4. This is a turn 3 2020. Or we can just start cranking out Saga tokens. Both of which are reasonable ways of winning a game of Magic the Gathering. Let's see what our opponent's playing and see what we think is best. A Polluted Delta, being cracked. Into a Tundra. Nomads and Core. Okay, we would like to get our Urza Saga up and running as soon as possible, please. This could find us Graveyard Hate. Now, our opponent might not have a turn 2 combo here. But this is our best way of trying to represent something that can win the game. Because given enough turns, our opponent will just win the game. It's only a matter of time before their combo comes together. Unless we stop it. They did not have a second land. Okay, this makes me think they had the Illusionist, but not the second land. So they have the combo if they draw a land, is what I'm expecting to happen here. So if they don't have it this turn, then we get to make the Saga Lantern. Alright, there's the land, and we're dead. Fair enough. Let's just see their particular build. Yeah. Let's just have a little look-sees. So, Teferi. Calder complete, so we are probably on Stone Forges. Rather than Stuff the Storytellers. We're not seeing much of a black splash, I think. Oh no, there is a Stoneforge Mystic as well. Oh sorry, no. Yeah, the Stoneforge Mystic instead of the Staff, right? So we're just trying to see what else is going on here. Yeah, forces. Not seeing any dazes, are we? Interesting. Currency Converter, Shuko. Yeah, this looks like a pretty stock list so far. The Dread Return is in their hand. So they're targeting themselves, so we get to see their entire deck now. Will they reveal? Dread Return, Force of Will, Step Through. Sure. We win that game on the play if we start off with an Urza Saga, which I think is probably what I would do most of the time. So, what do we want for this matchup? Dismembers can do some stuff. Spheres of Resistance can certainly interfere with their combo in a massive way. Haywire Mite can do stuff here. I don't like the Expedition map. I don't think we need Shadowspear. Saga Lantern definitely. Our Artifact Hate is actually pretty good here. It does some things. So maybe we don't need all these Liquimetal Coatings. Kind of nice to have one to find off of the Stirrings. I don't really want to play Crop Rotation into their blue deck there. And that kind of brings us to a deck. Interesting. Do we want more Liquimetal Coatings in the main to help with our smashing shenanigans? I don't think so. Like, we effectively have 5 in the main because you still have the 4 Karns. Karn's pretty reasonable in this matchup as well. What does this hand do? The Ancient Stirs for, like, some good stuff if we want it. And we can play a Haywire Mite, which can disrupt some of their things. Alternatively, we can lead out on the Reclaimer. So what would we be trying to Stirrings into? Like, Sphere of Resistance would be good. Or Dark Depths would be fine. They don't know that we're not running Bojuka Bog. So I'm going to play this Elvish Reclaimer. And they're going to play around Bojuka Bog for the whole game while we keep 2 mana up. And that's going to be great. If they don't play a Shuko or a Nomads, that'd be great for us this turn, because that means we get to use our mana instead of having to hold up for this elaborate bluff. Okay, they're just ending it, sure. Elaborate bluff, done. Let's play an Ancient Stirrings. Dark Depths is nice. Saga Lantern is nicer. Play Saga. They can't daze us here because they've only got planes. Let's get rid of this Prismatic Endings. They can't put it back on top. So now we have their combo covered while we have the Saga Lantern in play. Now something like a Teferi can just bounce out of play and then they can combo, but that's another piece they need, so it turns into a 3-card combo. They can Prismatic Ending our Saga Lantern as well. A Stone Forge Mystic. We already have an answer for Cauldra if that's what they're going for here, which I imagine they probably will do with the Saga Lantern on board. Shuko, okay. Maybe not. Maybe I was wrong. A Tear Asunder. Not unhappy to see that one. And we can pass it. They might already have the Cauldra in hand. There's the Shuko. That's fine. Shuko is also a sorcery speed one because it's equip, so it means that Tear Asunder can interact with it in a favourable way. They can't really attack with this. They could have put the Shuko on it and then attacked. Alright, getting some second main phase action here. A Ponder. Sure, I will allow this. Not that I can really say anything about it, but... Right, let's bring the beats. Do you want a Mox Diamond here? What does that allow us to do? That allows us to Tear Asunder at the expense of our Thespian stage. We could jam a Sphere of Resistance here. That does really limit our opponent's combo options. Or we could jam this Haywire Mite. That plays around days, gives us the ability to remove some permanents, including their combo piece that is in play right now. Then we start the attacks. I do not expect our opponent to block here. There we go. They take the 5. Then it's over to them. Let's see what you got going on. We've assembled a pretty useful selection of permanents here. We've got a nice clock going. Dress Down is something our opponent can run. It's not that likely though. Right, they're cracking a Polluted Delta. Another basic island into Ponder. Sure. Now, there is a question about maybe we should be Saga Lanterning to stop Murktide, but the fact that they're a combo deck, and we didn't see Murktides when they milled over before, means that I don't want to do that. You do get some breakfast decks now that run Murktide, but it's usually a main deck thing. Serenity. Okay, we have an answer for this. We have 2 answers for this, in fact. Karn the Great Creator. Let's try and cast this, because this keeps more of our permanents in play. And do we want to just jam this sphere? I think I do. If not now, then when, right? So now they have to chump block with the Stoneforge. And they can't execute their combo underneath the sphere. Because they need 2 mana and 3 mana to play both their guys, but then they need another mana to play their Dread Return. So that's 6 mana, right? 2 mana Brainstorm, ain't gonna cut it. Right, like in these sideboard cards. What 2 mana spell do you have? Nothing good enough. Excellent. Now, do we want to do anything differently here? Is the Tormod's Crypt better in our main deck, just as a thing that we can draw, or is it better as a thing that we get off of Karn? There's an interesting discussion there. I think it's probably better as a thing in our main deck, which means we swap out a Tear Asunder, although Tear Asunder does hit Urza Saga itself, which is quite nice. We could trim one of our Karns. It's quite expensive. Yeah, that seems good. It's got a slightly higher density of stuff to draw in the main. It does mean if we draw, like if we're getting to turn 4 and trying to cast Karn, draw stuff, then okay. So we have a removal spell, so we can interact with our opponent's combo. If they play a turn 1 Nomads, that's not great for us. But they didn't, so means we get to Ancient Stirrings in peace a little bit. Relative peace. We only found 1 card there. So now we're looking at Urza's Saga holding up Tear Asunder, Dismember. I think we're going to see a Stoneforge Mystic here. There it is. Which equipment would you like to find? A Cauldron. We have an answer for Cauldron. We have 2 answers for Cauldron, in fact. Would we rather kill the Stoneforge Mystic or just answer this Cauldron? We can answer the Cauldron playing around days, but that gives up our Urza Saga value moving forwards. I think I want the Urza Saga ticking up, because this also gets us graveyard hate. So we're going to try and tear asunder the Cauldron. Another reason why the exile is important here. It's not just the 1 ring. Yep, here comes the Cauldron. Okay, they got Force of Will. Sure. So we take 5, but then we can dismember this. It's a little bit ugly, but I can live with that. 3 cards in hand. So if we want to dismember and make an Urza Saga token, we have to play this, our Ancient Tomb. So let's try and dismember this Germ token. Alright, so now we have an Urza Saga ticking down. If our opponent just has the combo rolled up now, we do die. But if we make it to our next turn, we don't die. Make a construct. We are ahead in the old construct race here. This is interesting. We can Pithing Needle on their Urza Saga, if that's what we're worried about. We do have our own Urza Saga, but we have another way of winning the game still. Or we could just go get this Haywire Mite and blow up their Urza Saga. That seems better. And then I think I would like to have... Do I want another Urza Saga and play and just keep playing that game? I think so. Let's go attacks. Get 3 points of damage in, and then we'll exile their Urza Saga. And we're representing Dismember now. Please don't combo me. If we still had a Tormod's Crypt, we could think about playing this Karn, but we put it into our main deck. They chose not to shuffle. Not a fan of that. It's so scary playing against this deck. They just play like the worst creatures and then you die. It's beautiful. I love it. But Teferi Time Rabbit. This can bounce one of our tokens. It's not an insignificant reduction to that. They can also bounce our Saga. But then they will lose their Teferi. They're bouncing their Cauldron. That's interesting. That's pretty good. Does that mean we need to pivot onto a different line here? No, it doesn't. We can kill the Teferi here. I guess we can just kill the Stoneforge and leave them with cards in hand here. Okay, so now we play out the Thespian stage. And then we cast this Dismember on this. Paying a bit of a premium there. We attack. We'll attack Teferi. We'll attack them. I'm not expecting Solitude here. So, are we making another token? Are we playing Karn and going very low on our life total? What does Karn do? Karn shuts off Shuko lines. I think that's the safest way to not lose the game. Let's minus this. I wish we had a Tormod's Crypt here. What do we want? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We could just get a Lattice, but I don't think that's the one. Maybe we'll get the Shadowspear. Or Walking Ballista is pretty good against their combo, so let's get that. But if we get one more turn, we get to do our Urza Saga thing anyway. Just don't kill us this turn. This whole thing might have just been a preamble for them finding a combo spot. But this hopefully shuts down one of those combo opportunities for them. So it's like a ponder? Okay. I can live with that for now. We can go to 1 to lattice lock our opponent next turn. And they know this. I guess something we have to be a little bit wary of is Brazen Borrower. If they just flash in a Brazen Borrower, they can just kill us with it. They chose not to shuffle. A Stoneforge Mystic. Okay. What are they going to find? A Shuko? Yep. So they have 2 equipments and 3 other cards in hand. They're playing out the Shuko. Okay, they're a Prismatic Ending in this. Okay, so they have 2 equipments and 2 other cards. Do I think they can beat Lattice Lock? If we go for the Lattice Lock and it doesn't work, then we do lose the game. Which is not great. If we play out the Dark Depths, then we don't lose the game. We can get Pithing Needle and put it on the Stoneforge rather than going for Graveyard Hate here. I think that's probably what we need to do. Alright, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we go to 1 to Lattice Lock. Is that what I need to do here? Or are we just playing out the Yavimaya? We play out the Yavimaya here. We make a Ballista for 2. Okay, so we're in with the Ballista. They have a Shuko. They can make this a 2-2. I don't think we need to mess around with that right now. So this covers us from the combo. It covers us from the attack with a Shuko. It covers us from the Cauldron coming in because we have the Pithing Needle. If they go land to ferry, bounce this, we can then kill their Stoneforge in response. The next turn we can Lattice Lock without taking 2. A Brainstorm. That's going to be good. They have 2 cards that are pretty bad in their hand, so they get to give it a go. Shuko does not equip because of Karn either. So I think we play Dark Depths and then Lattice Lock. Oh, this is a tough one. Lots of stuff going on. I like it. It's a good game of Magic. I feel terrified like I'm going to die at any second. Okay, so this wasn't a fetch land. So those 2 equipments we know about are still floating around on the top of the deck. And they're going to have at least one of them next turn. Let's see what they're paying cost for. Feels like a Prismatic Ending here. A Serenity. That is a little rude, isn't it? Okay. And another Stoneforge. This is going to chew at one of those pieces that we've already seen. The Shuko, sure. So they're using that as their shuffle effect. Understood. Well, we do have Tear Asunders, right? So... Oh my god, I'm so good at this game sometimes. Oh dear, oh dear. Let's say no to this. And we can play this out and make a 2020. This is on Stoneforge Mystics, that's fine. You'll plus no targets. And we don't need to attack, we can just make a 2020 next turn. Tear Asunder MVP somehow. Somehow. Yeah, Prismatic Ending this. Not a fan of it, but I'm going to put in an equipment here. It's going to be a Cauldron. We can block and go to 1. They can attack with both creatures here. That's the correct play. But then we make a 20/20 and block here. Attacking with just the 5/5. Nope, they've realised they need to attack with the Stoneforge. So we know one of the cards in their hand. What is the other card in our opponent's hand? This makes us take 1. And they are dead on the backswing. But if they have a prismatic ending, that's not ideal for us. We can go get the Ensnaring Bridge. Oh, yes! That was a real game of Magic. I definitely think there's a couple of things we could have done a little bit differently. There was a time where we sort of could have been doing slightly different stuff with our Karn. And some of our sequencing could have been a bit better in the first game. But yeah, we are 3-1 going to final round. The only round we lost was due to a misplay. So yeah, maybe this deck's good. We have an Urza Saga hand. I think that's keepable. Let it be known that a wasteland can really ruin our day. Basically, I don't know why, I'm just getting High Tide vibes immediately from this. Could be wrong, but alright, this is a nice draw for us. We get this Urza Saga. We play this Mox Diamond. I think we're getting rid of the Thespian stage here. We play out our Elvish Reclaimer. Then we'll have a cheeky little Shadowspear. So we look like green-white depths at the moment. They sometimes have a copy of Urza Saga in. Or sometimes have a couple. A Ponder. The turn 2 Ponder. I think we know what our opponent drew there. Unless they have a minor misstep in hand and they were just hoping to have it. But I think you fire it off on a Reclaimer if you do. So they must have drawn the Ponder for turn. Well, let's hope this is another matchup where Tear Asunder does something. We can hardcast it with the kicker. They did not shuffle their library. Sure. A Pithing Needle. Are we doing anything with our Elvish Reclaimer right now? I don't believe we are. Which means we are attacking here. I think I'd like to hold up Tear Asunder just in case. So I'm not going to play out this Pithing Needle or this Haywire Mite. I'm not sure what I would name with Pithing Needle either. I suspect our opponent is playing High Tide. I don't know, I just feel it in my bones. But that doesn't necessarily mean that's what's happening. Prismatic Vista. That means they're probably not running High Tide. They tend to run just blue fetches because all they have is islands. And then they have 1 Mystic Sanctuary, so they need the non-basic fetches. Swords, 2 Plowshares on our Elvish Reclaimer. That's fine. Are we going to get dressed down? That'd be sad. Otherwise, this Urza Saga can probably carry us to victory. That's how good Urza Saga tends to be in these matchups. I feel a dress down coming. It's sad, but I think it's coming. Which of these cards is best for us? Is it the Soulguide Lantern, or is it the Expedition Map just to find more of the things we want? I will take an Expedition Map here. So now we know what our opponent's on a little bit. I can play this and name Teferi. They're probably on like a... Or it could be the One Ring decks. Yeah, let's name the One Ring. We do have that covered, so maybe we're supposed to name Teferi here. Dress down. Filthy. Absolutely filthy. Yeah, I think we were supposed to name Teferi with that one. I'm not necessarily sure how much of a difference it's going to make, but I think that would have been slightly better. But the straight-up blue-white decks aren't really a thing anymore. They tend to be red because Fourth Eolingus is just such a good finisher. There's the Volcanic. Okay. So they tend to run Ring and Fourth Eolingus as like their closing spells. I know the Ring doesn't actually win you the game, but it does win you the game. Teferi. Fourth Eolingus. Yep. There's a little boy. He's going to come and give them the Monarch. Which is not what we want our opponent to have. But here we go. This could be an uphill struggle, this one. Really wish we hadn't misplayed in round 1. Still salty about that. Okay, so we can just start blowing up all our opponent's permanents. But we need to take the Monarch. I think we're going to get ourselves an Urza Saga here. think that's just the best land in our deck at this point. We can play the Urza Saga. We can play our little friend. And then we can kill their human knight token and steal the monarch. That's what we'd like to do. Does that mean that's going to work? I don't know. They're not attacking now. They're just going to sit back and block. It does cost us an Urza Saga token if we want to try and take the monarch next turn. So maybe we're supposed to just jam some more Urza Saga tokens. Drawing another land would be nice. We only run 29, so... let's see how this game progresses. Alright, Ponder. That's fine by me. Opponent's got a lot of card selection kicking around over there. And just raw card advantage as well. So not the best of times. Yep, that monarchy is really going to do some work against us. I'd like to draw a land. Did not draw a land. I think we cast this Ancient Stirrings. I think we do need to leverage this as a Saga, even if it means our opponent gets some more cards. I think they should be able to remove one creature. So let's see if this Ancient Stirrings is good. A Flusterstorm. Do I want this Ancient Stirrings more than an Urza Saga construct? I don't think so. They're trading 1 for 1 with our opponent's stuff. Feels pretty bad. We should have hit a land there. I think our opponent is heavily favoured to win this game. Prismatic Ending. Sure, we don't gain 2 life because it didn't die. They're probably not attacking with the human knight here. I feel that would be a bold thing to attempt. But, depending on what they've got, it might be doable. They could just play a ring for fog. A Blood Moon. Okay, the old main deck Blood Moon. A little bit rude. Have they got a dress down to really hammer this one home as well? Don't think they're attacking into our 4/4. Now we can blow up this Blood Moon. That's the thing our deck can do. Crop Rotation. So if we blow this up, we don't get to equip Shadowspear. If they had a Prismatic Ending, they would have ended our Mox Diamond anyway. Let's try and equip our token. Another dress down. Yuck. Having a bad time. Having a very bad time. But we're getting information about our opponent's deck at least, which can help our sideboarding. Because there's a little bit of variety within these lists. I think if we'd have drawn lands, we would have been a little bit better. We'd be able to try and do 2 things at once. Because we're not going to overload the Monarch by only doing 1 thing a turn. We need to kind of do multiple things because they're just drawing all the cards. Hardcast Lorien revealed. That's some amount of Magic the Gathering cards I have now. Prismatic Ending. Okay, so they drew the Prismatic for the Mox. Okay, we can draw Shenanigans. But I think at this point we're just going to see as much of our opponent's deck as we can and try and have a more informed look at the sideboarding. Thespian's Stage. Do I want to show our opponent Liquimetal Coating? I think it's okay to do so. And a Mountain for our opponent there. A Teferi. This can bounce anything that they have a problem with. If they have the 1 ring, they might bounce the Pithing Needle now. They're bouncing the Coating. That's fair. So if we can find Dark Depths and a green source, we can present a win by playing the Dark Depths with no counters on, then getting rid of the Blood Moon. Now, Teferi means we have to do that on our turn, which exposes us to a whole bunch of stuff. Well, there's part 1. And the crop rotation is part 2. So that's interesting. Let's jam this again. They didn't like it before. Let's see if they like it now. Let's get rid of this Ancient Tomb. I'm not expecting this to resolve. Our opponent has Force of Will mana up. Sure. It's a lot of main deck Flusterstorms. 2 main deck Flusterstorms is quite a lot. This is a 60 card deck as well. It's not a Yorion deck. Haven't shown us Force of Will yet, which is really fascinating. So I think if you had it, you'd probably use that last turn because it's just mana efficient to hardcast it there. Let's make a larger creature. There is a Brainstorm from our opponent. They're plussing their Teferi. They're ploughing our guy. They're beating us down for 2 again. Rinse and repeat. Karn the Great Creator. How important is it that I think I'd like to get rid of the Teferi here. Can I exile your Teferi? No. 3 Flusterstorms in the main deck. That is fascinating. I think our opponent might not be on Force of Will here. They might just be on Flusters. That's really interesting. 3 Flusterstorms in your main deck. Is that 3? 1, 2, 3, yeah. That's wild. Like, it's not really the problem here. The problem is they got the Monarch on 10-3. Another Blood Moon, sure. Would like to see more of our opponent's deck, so I think we might try and kill this Human Knight and buy ourselves some time. Gardens. Our opponent doesn't have a 4th Eolingus in hand, otherwise we would have been dead last turn. Right, Force of Negation. Sure. We're using a decent chunk of our opponent's clock, which might make it more difficult for them to make decisions in short time frames in later games. But our opponent's deck is just kind of wild. Triple Flusterstorm and a Force of Negation, but no Force of Will yet. Alright, there's the 4th Eolingus. Now they're going to turn him sideways and we're going to die. Let's just have a quick look at what they played this game. Dress down, or revealed, Brainstorms, just the normal blue-white stuff. The main deck Blood Moon is a little bit mean. Like, it's not actually that bad against us. Still not the biggest fan. Do we want to play something like Sphere of Resistance in their deck that's trying to play all these 1-drops and then like larger stuff? I think that's definitely a thing we can think about. Pithing Needle is going to be okay. Haywire Mite can blow up Blood Moon, so probably need that. Shadowspear I don't think we need. And Crop Rotation into the Counterspell deck, not a fan. Do we want any of these cards in our main deck instead of our sideboard? I don't think so. So we'll just submit like this and see if we can get there. What does this hand do? Play Soul Guide Lantern into Urza Saga. We can try and present a Dark Depths kill. And we have a Karn the Great Creator, which is a very powerful thing. But it's kind of slow. I think we can do better. Alright, I would describe this as better. We get to keep this. And Saga is great. Our lands are all great. I think it's the Stirrings that goes. Or is it the Sphere? And we just try and race into... I like Sphere. Sphere and Saga is a good combo. Let's put back one of these Stirrings. Both starting the game on 6. Ancient Stirrings. That's some stuff there, isn't it? I'm going to vacuum. The Thespian stage is better than the others here. Ancient Tomb does give us an early Karn, though. Yeah, we'll do that. So next turn, we want to try and jam this Sphere. And just continually jam our opponent right up. So if we go Sphere next turn, the turn after, we don't have the mana for Karn yet. Which means we're probably playing Urza Saga to play the Sphere. And then we can just pivot into doing Saga stuff underneath the Sphere, which is quite a potent plan. They did not shuffle their library off that Ponder. Just go for the Sphere. Alright. So, Prismatic Ending against Sphere Resistance works in an annoying way. Where they pay 2 mana and exile it. Let's see if that's what happens this turn. If it is, we could jam a Karn and see if that sticks. Just a 2 mana Ponder. Okay, so this means if we play... We can't play Karn next turn because we don't have the mana, actually. So we're on the... Playing the Elvish Reclaimer. Sorry, not playing the... playing the as a Saga token. We can't play the Reclaimer as well because it's cost more mana due to our own sphere. But we can play out a Yavimaya here. And then start the Saga train. Alright, they're cycling the Lorien Revealed. Getting an island. We're going to see this island hit play? We are, okay. So they can't dress down. Not this turn, at least. They can plough this, though. What would I like here? Is this a Mox Diamond turn? I think it is. It plays horribly into the Meltdown, though. Maybe take this, because we can always cycle this. And we'll get rid of a Ponder. And play this out. This allows us to crack the Soulguide Lantern if we need to. Are we seeing a Source to Plowshares from our opponent? Or do they find a dress down in the top few cards of their library? Right. They did not find a dress down when they pondered and kept. Maybe Thorn of the Amethyst. No, Thorn of the Amethyst probably isn't better, is it? Like, we don't have many creatures. It's just the Reclaimer. So, 2 mana Ponders. Disgusting. Be my guest. It can be the 3rd Ponder they've cast. The 3rd time they've not shuffled. Interesting. There's a land. Shall miss. Let's go to attacks. Force to an additional damage. Or they got another plough. Oh, we've connected there. Okay. We can clone a Sphere of Resistance if we think that will be good. Ploughing post-combat after they took 4. Interesting. Very interesting. So they know what their top 2 cards are from the Ponder, so... Right, this is in their main phase, so they didn't do it in their upkeep. So it must have been the thing they put on top, or... Yeah. Or they wanted the additional card on top, that sort of thing. Right, so we're going to see a Meltdown, I suspect. A Blood Moon. Sure. We lose our Saga. I don't think I want to hit this like this. So we can play this out. This does not tap for 2 mana, so we can't actually play our little friend here. But, well, we can't play our big friend in Karn, but we can play our little friend in Elvish Reclaimer. Which is only a 1-2, but we can blow up their Blood Moon if we want to. With the Boseiju, which will put a land in our graveyard and turn our Reclaimer into a 3-4. Teferi Time Raveler. That can bounce our construct and change the amount of damage that our opponent's taking. But we kill that Teferi and play Karn. They're bouncing the Reclaimer, that's interesting. So our opponent is clearly representing a 1 mana for paying for a counterspell here. That's what that says to me. Let's go to attacks. I think we nail this Teferi. Our Gardens. I don't really want to cast this Karn into this 1 open mana if I can avoid it. Let's just play this guy. So what this guy allows us to do is go and get a Dark Depths, and then we can channel our Boseiju and make a 20/20 by blowing up the Blood Moon, which might come as a shock to our opponent. They're valuing that a lot more than our 3/3 beat stick, which is nice. Interesting. Let's go to attacks. Can I have Karn? Force of Negation paying 1 mana, I suspect. There it is. I really don't think our opponent is running Force of Will in their deck. As interesting as it is. They just got Fluster Storms and Force of Negations, and then removal for creatures. and just kind of assume that's going to be okay. Which it might well be. Okay, so here we're going to see a Teferi bounce. Not the best for us. But we can surprise our opponent with some stuff here. Another Sphere of Resistance. That's annoying for our opponent. Is it annoying for us, is the next question. I'd like to draw a card here, I think. Karn the Great Creator. He is a great creator, isn't he? We can play our Boseiju, which gives up on the... But we do have the Tear Asunder for that line anyway. Sure, I think this is worth giving up our Boseiju for. Let's get some value straight away. Which one of these is best? Kind of a tricky one. I like the Crucible here. Just rebuy all these other things, because we can blow up the Blood Moon and just start the Saga trend again. This will tell our opponent that we have a Saga in hand, that we have a way of blowing up the Blood Moon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we do need to find a land to play Lattice next turn. A Stony Silence. Okay, that doesn't stop the Lattice lock. That is not the Lattice lock. That is unfortunate. None of these are particularly exciting to me. I'll take a Mycosynth Gardens here. This does help us after a fashion. We'll deploy this and see if our opponent cares about it. They shouldn't. Do I want to animate our sphere and try and kill their Teferi? I think so. Let's go to attacks. Nice, nice. We got the Teferi down. Played an island. And they're passing it to us. 1, 2, 3. So they can play around the Lattice lock here. We haven't seen Force of Will. We've only seen Force of Negation. Does that mean I'm supposed to get something else here? 1, 2, 3. Hold on, make sure I've got enough mana here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's get Lattice. Play our land. Cast Lattice. There's a 6 mana Force of Will. They are running Force of Will. Okay. Weird that we didn't see any before. And we've already used our Karn this turn. Okay, so the easy Lattice lock win is now off the table. But we could just Tear Asunder and start doing Urza Saga things. And that seems like a pretty good way to function, I would say. A land, but not a fetch land. Not that they can fetch under Blood Moon anyway. Karn the Great Creator. Interesting. Let us try blowing this up. Another Force of Will? Sure. And then I will... If we minus the Karn, that's kind of awkward. Guess we plus on the Crucible. Attack with the Crucible. I'll just play another Sphere of Resistance. This makes cantripping lines much more awkward for our opponent. So our opponent knows what the top 2 cards of their library are from that Brainstorm. Thespian's Stage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we're 1 away from making a big Walking Ballista. I think we just... Do we animate a Sphere and bash for 2 and then play the Crucible and bash? I think that's better here. Because this will still be lethal either way. A Dress Down. Okay. Enjoy your Dress Down, opponent. They know what... No, they didn't know what that card was, right? Okay, I don't think we're going to play this other Karn out. So we can Walking Ballista, or we can just beat down with a Crucible. Both are fine options. Alright, we got a game with the old Karn beat down there. One more game for the 4-1. I'm pretty happy with how our deck is looking. I think we're just going to submit and go again. Haven't seen the One Ring, and I think we probably would have seen it by now, which means I think we're dealing with just a Ferry as the thing to Pithing Needle, really. Or as the main thing to Pithing Needle, which is an important thing to Pithing Needle. Yeah, this deck's throwing up quite a lot of good games, actually. I don't like this one. If we had a forest, I'd be down. Let's mulligan. Okay, this does a thing. Definitely does a thing. I think we put back the Pithing Needle here. So we're looking for Liquimetal Coating or Thespian Stage. And then we're just going to throw Spheres of Resistance down our opponent's throat so they can't actually interact with our combo. Alright. Spheres are good. Alright, we're in with one. Got to keep an eye on the clock as well. Yavimaya. I will play out this Yavimaya. I'll play out Sphere of Resistance. Do you like this one? 2 mana Brainstorm. Don't think they're going to be a fan of that one. They got a mountain though. Prismatic Ending. In that case, you're not going to like my next turn. I think play this one out in case we draw Thespian Stage here. Alright, opponent. How many Spheres of Resistance would you like to play against opponent? The 3 mana Brainstorm. Alright, I'm having a great time. Is this going to be island cycling? I suspect it is. And we have the easier time of the clock because we just play our thing and pass priority. And hope that's good enough. We can start removing counters from our Dark Depths manually, and it might get there this game. We just do this so we can pass. Shame we didn't get 4 Spheres of Resistance in play. That would have been fun. Or maybe possibly even get to the dream of having 5 or 6. 4th Eorlingus for 1 little guy. Like that will win the game in 7 turns because we don't have a lot of life. Ancient Tomb is a hell of a drug. Ancient Stirrings. So this costs 1 mana, 2, 3, 4. Ancient Tomb. Sphere of Resistance, you say. Urza's Saga. I'll take an Urza's Saga. That can beat a human Knight token. We're going to see a Blood Moon now. Don't you tap that mountain. Don't do it. Oh no! That's a very different thing. They're running Blood Moon and Ruination. That is not the one, is it? How do we win this game now? I guess we get them to play Blood Moon. And then we somehow remove it. No, I guess we can still make a 20-20 if we draw live here. I'm glad I caught that on stream though. That's a funny one. Alright, we'll take 2 here. Shenanigans. Alright. We just need to draw ourselves. Like, they probably have a Swords to Plowshares and can just pay through the sphere. We're just going to see another 4th Eorlingus here. Let's try and get the clock going. No, it's a Fairy. Just going to bounce a sphere. I don't think they want to. No, there you go. Because they blew up all our lands, so that's pretty good against Sphere. I was not expecting the Ruination once I saw the Blood Moons. It's usually an either or, but they absolutely busted us up with it, so fair plays. Karn the Great Creator, you are not a mana source. We need Thespian Stage plus 1 mana source. I shouldn't say mana source, because that means we'll draw these Mox Diamonds. Alright. I think our opponent has pretty good tools against us in this matchup. Like, the fact that we know they're running at least 2 Blood Moons and the Ruination in a 60-card deck with loads of cantrips is a little on the sketch side for our chance of winning a game. The Blood Moon isn't, you know, the end of the world for us. But it means that they can ignore part of our deck while just focusing their counter spells on the things that matter. Okay. So we've got 3 mana now, so we can't cast anything through our own spheres. But if we draw exactly Thespian Stage next turn, we will die in a different way, because we will make our 20/20 to block their 2/2. Then they will bounce it with Teferi and we'll lose the game. That's what they should do anyway. But they might even be able to do instant speed, prismatic ending, and kill it. They've got a lot of cards over there. So we can start manually removing counters from his dark depths, but it's not going to matter because of life totals. So I'm not going to bother clicking through it. We take our little medicine here. We are done there. Some pretty good games there. We finished with a 3-2, but that included a game where we punted by making their Murktide 1 bigger, which changed the entire texture of the game. And we didn't need to do that. Yeah, a bit awkward and a bit embarrassing. So maybe the deck deserved a 4-1, but we got a 3-2. So let's talk about this deck. So this is the very first time I've not even play tested hands with this deck. I literally just theory crafted it and threw it into the league, which is what I quite often do on here. I think it's a good way of sort of seeing things. And, you know, I've been playing Magic for a couple of decades, so I've got a reasonable amount of theory crafting behind me at this point. And it's nice to see how well that holds up. And it held up really well today. Like, we're not doing things that are necessarily that surprising. You know, Karn is a good card. It's not surprising that this won us games. Dark Depths combo, not surprising this won us games. What is surprising is that we did our Mycosynth combo on the very first game. That was pretty big news there. Reclaimers felt pretty good. I'm not sure this deck needs crop rotation. It felt like we had quite a lot of good stuff going on without it, and we boarded out quite a lot. The Shenanigans Liquimetal Coating, like, yes, it's kind of awkward, but we definitely found spots where it was doing stuff. And in sideboard games, especially, it was doing decent things. You know, we killed a Cauldra, we blew up Blood Moons, we presented the Shenanigans blow up every permanent you have strategy. So, yeah, I think it was quite good. I think if I was going to have another look at this deck, I think I'd be keen to drop the crop rotations, because they can find us stuff. And they did win us a game, actually, to be fair. So maybe I'm being a bit hasty. But it felt like our deck kind of does enough stuff. But I guess what would I be cutting them for is the next question, and I honestly don't know. Things you could think about would be running the Boseiju Bog. Maybe we could... I don't think we necessarily need all 5 of these effects. Maybe we could trim down. Maybe trim out 1 Shenanigans or 1 Tear Asunder. I don't think we want to get rid of both of them, because it kind of makes the Liquimetal Coating a bit less exciting. I guess if you were to trim more, you could also trim the Liquimetal Coating, but then that kind of hurts the other combo we're trying to assemble there. But yeah, this deck performed significantly better than I thought it was going to. I figured we'd probably be getting a 2-3 and feeling good about it. And now I feel bad that we missed a 4-1, which is, you know, pretty good. Now, we got handedly smashed up by the last deck. Like I said, they had a lot of good tools for us. They had the dress downs for our Sagas. They had lots of basic land hate, and they could focus their counter spells on the other things we were doing. Now, we did kind of get mana screwed in the first game. Was that the first game? Yeah, it was the first game we got mana screwed, which meant that we couldn't double spell, and we just kind of got beaten by the 1/4 Eolingus, which was a bit of a shame. Maybe we could have done it. Like, I would be happy to play that matchup again and see how it fared. I think our opponent's favour, but I don't think it's like unwinnable or anything. The Ancient Stirrings digs very deep. This card seems pretty decent. This is the best shell I've seen this in for Legacy, to be honest, because no one else is really playing it in Legacy, which is pretty ridiculous if you look at how much selection this gives you. 5 cards is such a big portion of your library to be looking for 1 mana, especially in green, which is not a colour that necessarily gets to do that. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with this. The build I posted on my Patreon with this had the 1 ring instead of Sky Sovereign, but I swapped this out for the League today just to have another bit of removal that we can maybe grab at times for Planeswalkers and things. And it didn't really come up as the thing we needed to do, but I don't think we would be fetching the ring. Maybe in one of those games where it was all a bit grindy and we were just minusing Karn, if we'd have had the ring as just a thing that we could get for value, like when we got to the Crucible before, that would probably be pretty good actually if we did that. So if we, instead of having the Sky Sovereign, we had the 1 ring, but I didn't actually have access to the 1 ring today. So that would definitely be a thing that I would change. The Sphere of Resistance plan is an interesting one. We didn't play against the decks that it's necessarily there for, you know, like your Storm decks, you know, your fast combo decks, oops all spells, trying to play that on the draw, that sort of thing. You could run something like Mindbreak Trap in that slot, but Mindbreak Trap is something that these decks tend to play around in terms of Thoughtseize and stuff, whereas a Sphere you can just get it down and then they have to spend a turn usually answering it. And if you can just mount multiple Spheres with Mycosynth Gardens, as is the plan, it's probably going to come out pretty well for you. Yeah, this deck was surprisingly good, and I think we're almost certainly going to see it again during December, which is a month where I play nothing but Dark Depths decks. But they're going to be weird and wonderful ones, from Blood Moon Mono Red to some other spicy ones I haven't even unveiled to you lovely people yet. And if you're interested in how this deck got built and the processes that I went through working out, because basically the core premise was the combo of Mycosynth Gardens, Liquimetal Coating, and Dark Depths as like another way. So we could play Monogreen Turbodepths by having 2 different ways of making our 2020. So instead of having to use Hex Mage, we then have this other way of copying the lands. So that was kind of the initial brief. And then it just sort of got fleshed out. And you can sort of see all the stages I went through. And if you're a deck builder or you're trying to get into deck building and understand how people do that, I think it's a really good article for that. Obviously I would do because I wrote it. And, you know, I get paid for people on my Patreon. So there is that aspect for it myself. But it genuinely is something that was quite a fun process to do. I've not done an article like that before where I sort of go through my sort of stream of consciousness, if you will. So definitely check that out if you're interested in this deck or the process behind it. And if you're still here, remember to like and subscribe. It really helps. I think I might be doing a giveaway when I get to 2,000 subs. So make sure you stay tuned for that. Quite what the giveaway is, I haven't fully decided. But it'll be something good, hopefully. Well, I hope you'll enjoy it when time comes. Anyway, I'm rambling now. It's late at night, and I hope you've really enjoyed this one. I had an absolute blast with this deck, and it did some really cool things. So thank you very much for watching this one, and goodbye.